Okay. Okay, continuing, the last value is empathy. Having empathy and understanding feelings of others, standing in their shoes, understanding their hardship. Those are the values of the Parlier Police Department. Next slide, please. Now I'm going to go over our strategic goals and our objectives and how we look at how we can help the community, what we can do to improve. So crime reduction and prevention. Through crime reduction and prevention, we look at implementing data-driven strategies to improve target high crime areas and repeat offenders. So a lot of these times when we do our data and we assess it and we evaluate it, in most cases, there's a crime analyst that will provide us to predict crime. We don't happen to have a crime analyst, so we kind of do our own in-house. But that's how we identify hotspot areas where we see violence, gang violence, and gun violence, domestic violence, so violence in general. Enhance community policing initiatives to build trust and collaboration. Develop proactive measures to prevent crime and reduce victimization. So a lot of that is educating the community, a lot of the events we do, educational pamphlets, as well as presentations. Next slide, please. And then we have community engagement and relations. Strengthen partnerships with community organization, residents, and businesses. Citizens, so what that has to do with is the police department fostering relationships through programs like Citizens on Patrol, our volunteer program, our Explorer program, our Citizen Advisory Board, and our up-and-coming Clergy Council Board. So those are some of the boards, committee boards that we develop with the community to help us with community engagement and relations. And in turn, what they do as an organization, their constituents and their followers are part of this as well. We expand the outreach through neighborhood watch initiatives and community events, block parties. Peace and unity in the community are what our outreach events are about. Improve communication and transparency with the public through social media, town hall meetings. We do Starbucks meetings where we meet and greet your officer and chief. So we do a lot of that, and we're going to continue to do that. Next slide, please. Next slide, we'll move into officer training and development. So once the officers get out of the police academy, they have the basic knowledge and training to be a police officer, and they're certified through posts. But there is so much more training in addition to that each department is responsible for. And we want qualified officers out there. Unqualified officers equals liability. So we want to train our officers thoroughly and effectively. So officer training, a lot of the training that we are focusing on is de-escalation training, crisis intervention training, cultural competency type training, use of force type training, search and seizure type training. Those are essential for and pretty routine with any new officer coming on board that lacks that experience. And we've identified these training matters. So we really concentrate on those, but in addition to that, we concentrate on leadership, mental health, and wellness. But there's a number of trainings, and it just, if you want to maximize the potential of your police department, you have to train your personnel. Your biggest investment and your resources are your personnel. And a lot of times we don't have those resources, so we actually go out to other agencies to assist us, but it's on a limited basis. So it would behoove us to train our officers thoroughly and make sure we got qualified officers out there that know what they're doing. They're providing high quality service. Next slide, please. Technology and innovation. Technology is so essential nowadays. It seems like law enforcement is always a step behind. When we're investigating identity theft, ICAC, which is internet crimes against children over the internet, you have to have the right technology, because if you don't have the programs and applications, you're ineffective. So we do invest in that. We have a detective that's part of the ICAC investigation. He works closely with Fresno County to target predators who are targeting our young children out there. So technology, innovation, thinking out of the box, being creative is all part of the components that are going to make us a much more qualified department. Digital evidence management, cybersecurity. I mean, cybersecurity is a billion-dollar industry. So we know hacking into, if they can hack into financial institutions, they can hack into just about any federal institution or entity. It's imperative that we have cybersecurity. Having cybersecurity is essential. Next slide, please. Organizational development and resource management, always developing our personnel, like I said, with leadership, succession planning, strategic planning, personnel, senior personnel, getting them in place, identifying leaders, sending them to the proper training so that we have that structure, and that infrastructure creates that, that regiment that we need, because we're paramilitary. So it's essential to have the chain of command and the structure. And we enhance accountability, transparency, and performance measurement systems. So we do performance evaluations, and we hold people accountable through our performance evaluations. Next slide, please. Our implementation plan. Basically, we're establishing timelines, responsible parties. We're identifying performance indicators for each strategic goal. We're developing action plans, initiatives, and projects to achieve the outlined objectives, monitor progress, we evaluate the outcomes, and adjust strategies as needed. Next slide, please. Budget and resource allocation, a big component of any organization. So in order to be effective, we have to identify other resources, other funding sources. So of course, grants are extremely helpful and can help you have a robust program so that you can maximize the potential of all your personnel through these grants, so through these trainings that the grants fund, and as well as salaries. To ensure financial sustainability and efficiency and resource utilization, seek opportunities for partnerships, collaboration, and shared resources. So just developing our partnerships with other agencies, other law enforcement entities is a big part of our ability to be effective and keep the community safe. Next slide, please. Develop a comprehensive communication plan to inform and engage internal and external stakeholders, foster open dialogue, feedback, mechanisms, and community involvement in decision-making process, promote transparency, accountability, and trust through effective communication strategies. So simply, a lot of the committees that we have and we're trying to put together, working with our community, developing that trust and transparency, and having that communication is essentially what we're referring to. Next slide, please. So in any strategic plan, succession plan, you got to have an evaluation and reporting. So simply just evaluating these initiatives, these innovative strategies that we're using to reduce crime and the fear of crime in the community, monitoring the progress, having quarterly reports, assessing the reports, the crime stats, the trends, any new crime that we can predict, having those discussions. So we have weekly and monthly meetings with supervisors to go over that so we can pass that message on down to the rank and file. So it's just an evaluation and reporting process where we determine how effective these strategies are and if they're being effective and if they're not. And we do ask for community feedback on a lot of that. Next slide, please. So those are the goals and objectives of the police department. And now I'm going to move towards the crime stats. So if you look at the crime stats, up to date, so this is the third quarter report. At the end of the year, I'll have the end of the year report. So right now, all the crimes are down in Parlier. These are Part 1 crimes. There's 8 Part 1 crimes. It's homicide, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, larceny, auto theft, and arson. And they're down now, and we like the numbers the way they look. Of course, we got another quarter to go, so hopefully by the end of the year, we can maintain these. We're going to do everything we can. But as you can see, homicide is down. We have no homicides. Rape is down by 40%. Robbery is down 78%. Aggravated assault, 35%. Burglary is down 71%. Larceny is down 65%. Auto theft, 72%. And arson is down 70%. So we got some good numbers right now, but like I said, this is in comparison to 2023 full year stats, and this is a 3-quarter report. So it's looking very promising. Next slide, please. I always like to report the firearms because gun violence is a huge issue in all communities. Gang violence, gun violence, robberies, and that usually results in victims of gun violence. But last year we confiscated 13 firearms. This year to date we've got 19, so we're up 46%, which is this actually increase is good because we're getting weapons off the street. And then our calls for service last year we were at annual. Through the year, it was 11,830 calls for service. Right now, we're about 9,299. So we're on pace for about the same amount of calls for service on that. So that concludes my crime stat report. And thank you very much. If there are any questions.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Chief. Thank you for that update. It's good to see that, our community is a lot safer than it has been in the past. So thank you for your hard work. The mental health, and I know I've had that discussion with you, is there training for mental health, how to deal with community members that are dealing with a mental health issue? And I know there's been sometimes some calls and some complaints on how they're being addressed and how they're being approached by officers when they have a situation of mental health and having their outbursts outside the community, and other residents will call in and say that, he's behaving erratically, and, yes. I do get some complaints where they feel that they're not being approached in a proper way.
Right.
And then I do also get comments where there's other situations where they are approaching the person a lot different and a lot better. So are you providing that training for them?
Yeah, so actually, half of the department is fairly new.
Right.
So we're working on that half. But the other half of the department has had that training already. And
Good.
Because this is a nationwide issue, and we're realizing through research that arrest and detention when somebody is experiencing a mental health episode or an issue is not the solution. Right. And so a lot of the training, we actually have some grant funding, not much, but a little bit for the training. So we are scheduling that training for our new officers, and the funding is essential. And sometimes those courses, they're not always available in town. They're not always available. It's very scarce and sparse, so we got to look for those. But the funding that we have, actually, I'm looking at bringing in a company to provide individualized training for our officers solely for our department. In other cases where officers are sent off, it's actually multi-agencies and it's a larger. Okay. But when you have that more that environment where it's more of a one-on-one, face-to-face, and so they're helping them identify and triage these individuals that are experiencing this. So if they're displaying these type of symptoms, and if it's manic depressive, or if they're elevated, and they're showing these symptoms and signs, then they need to take their training and realize, okay, this is a situation where it's not arrest and detain and book. Yeah. We're going to call in the crisis team, which is Fresno County Mental Health, CIT, Crisis Intervention Team, and they come out and help us out. But and that's what I mentioned at the beginning of the PowerPoint, that some of the focus on the training was de-escalation and crisis intervention and use of force. But yes, I think that's great because,
I know that new officers are not going to know how to deal with that kind of situation, especially that they don't train them in the academy for that. They give them the basics, and then they pretty much learn in the department, you know, how to handle certain situations, and depending on the department, what services and what training they'll receive extra on top of that. So I'm glad, and I do believe there's some funding, federal funds for
Right.
mental health training, because there is not just Parlier, it's throughout the nation where we have these situations that do arise, and it's the training what's going to help, like you said, to de-escalate these situations. So it's also great because it also protects the officer, because you can have a situation where the officer can be, you know, shot, killed, whatever might happen, and because it's escalating. So I think it's important for them to receive that training. So if you want to reach out to our grant writers, and maybe they can help you with the funding that you need for that.
Right, yes, and you're right, actually, de-escalation is part of that, because use of force usually could result in injury, and that's what we're trying to reduce as well. And we want to protect the residents as well as the officers, so it's essential they learn these tactical communication skills. But it's, you know, the teen suicide rate has skyrocketed over the last 10 years. Anxiety and depression throughout the nation. These are challenges that we're all seeing and we're facing. And because in the police academy, they touch on it just so slightly, but there needs to be extensive training. And so they are offering more extensive training for all of that, and all agencies are focusing on that as well as us.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
all right.
Thank you.
You bet.
Is there any other questions? Okay, hearing none, thank you for your presentation. Very good information. Next, we have public comments. At this time, any citizen may address the city council on matters not appearing on the agenda that are the jurisdiction of the city. Speakers shall limit their comments to 3 minutes unless extended by the mayor. Please begin your comments by stating your name and city of residence.
Good afternoon, my name is Fernando Bragnolo. I hope that the mic is on. I believe last time when I made a comment, the mic, someone turned the mic off.
You have to turn it on.
Do I turn it on?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, the situation I'm talking about is the lawsuit that occurred with Mr. Garza. In 2019, Mr. Costanzo told, along with the mayor, the city of Parlier Insurance, that he wanted to shop for a better rate. He was upset at the insurance and threatened to discontinue the city insurance. My question is this: why did the city of Parlier discontinue paying the premiums? Number two, who was in charge of us assuring that someone would attend the meetings? My question is that. Who was attending the meetings?
You turned it off, I'm sorry. Well, no one's touching it, sorry.
Okay, I'll start again. Thank you. The issue here is the lawsuit. Thank you. Now it sounds better. The lawsuit that with Mr. Garza against the city. In 2019, Mr. Costanzo, along with the mayor, told the city of Parlier Insurance that he wanted to shop for a better rate. He was upset at the insurance and threatened to discontinue the city insurance. My question is this: why did the city of Parlier discontinue paying the premiums? And who was in charge of assuring that someone attended the meetings? Without someone attending the meetings, they would discontinue the insurance. Knowing that there was no insurance, why and who called to terminate Mr. Garza's employment? That was a critical call for the city, knowing that there was no insurance. Lastly, I think at the end, Mr. Costanzo's firm needs to be sued. For his negligence with the city, he should have been given the advice that there was no insurance. So I'm asking you, Madam Mayor, who was in charge of the meetings and who discontinued the meetings, and why was Mr. Garza terminated, understanding that there was no insurance?
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I asked a question.
You can address that with the staff. They're the ones that actually deal with the insurance. I don't. So if you would like to meet with him, You could meet with him tomorrow.
But I'm asking the question is,
Council?
who,
Yes, and Mr. Banuelos, I appreciate your public comment, but the council is not required to respond to your questions. Your questions are excellent, but you've been referred to the city manager, and I would suggest that you put your questions in writing and direct them to the city manager and for response. And then if the city manager needs legal assistance or some sort of review of the current law, or any of the staff needs to take a look at 2019, which is like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It will take a little bit to figure out first what happened and answers to those questions.
Okay.
And you would want them to be accurate.
okay, and that's my last question then. Who will pay the $1.1 million up to $1.8 million? Will the water rates be increased? And will there be another tax hike? Or will you ask businesses to pay more for their share? Will these businesses be harassed? Again, it's who will pay for this negligence. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
My name is Ravdeep Basin, and with me is Mr. Dhalewal. So, we represent a non-profit in the name of Sarbat Bhala, INC.
I don't think you can be heard. Just check that the microphone is on and make sure you are speaking right into the microphone. Then speak close to the microphone so you can be heard.
Okay,
Thank
is it
you.
okay now?
I think so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, hi, good evening. My name is Ravdeep Basin, and with me is Mr. Dhalewal, and we represent a non-profit, which is a California non-profit, in the name of Sarbat Bhala INC. So, like 3 to 4 years ago, the city, was kind enough to allot 20 acres of land to us, so that we could put up a project there. So there have been delays, honestly, in taking actions by us because of the situation in the country and otherwise because of this COVID-19 pandemic. Now we have 3 projects which we propose to the city manager and to the respected council members and to the mayor. And those 3 projects we want to be placed on the agenda, and we can come even next time, or it could be heard this today. And then we would like to place those 3 projects on the agenda and would like to present them to the respected mayor and the other council members, and as well as to the public at large. So one of our projects is we want to put up a 100 rooms assisted living and memory care community facility. And in that 100 rooms, we'll have a mix of, like, let's say 65 of non-ambulatory rooms, and 25 would be memory care, which we call it dementia, and 10 to 15% would be for the hospice care for the bedridden people. So that's one kind of project we propose, and we made a project report and we presented it to all of you, and you have it on your email. And another project which we want to propose, we have given a name as Parlier Low Income Affordable Community Rental Housing Facility, which we say that it will be of 2 levels, level 1 and level 2. And it will have, let's say, 75 units. So about 40 units could be studio units, and rest of the units could be 1-room apartments. And that will be a affordable community rental housing. And so that's another project. And then the third parcel is of like 10 acres. So where we say that we can have a community sports park, and the sports park will have various activities going on there. So we want to have some time from you and a part of your agenda, so that we could be heard.
Yeah, that's fine. And as I mentioned to you earlier, we can have you communicate with our council and our city manager.
Ma'am, we have been doing that, but we have not been successful.
I know, but
So, but
maybe,
we just again request, that's why we are here, that,
Yeah.
if we could have, if you give us we say that, okay, in the next Thursday of next month, that's another meeting, the next meeting, right? So we could be here, and if you give us time, 6:30, we can be here. And if we could be a part of your agenda.
communicate with, council. Maybe you can, maybe contact them and see what your recommendation would be to do at this point, since, right here, we can't really do that.
I suggest you put that in writing, your projects, the 3 projects, and direct it to the city manager. And if there's any outstanding issues that we had previous meetings on, those issues need to be resolved. And what are the options for resolution? And all of that needs to be put in writing and directed to the city manager. And then you always have the right to appear in public comment, but you do not have the right to be put on an agenda. So I've just told you what your best option is put that in writing to the city manager, and then if he has any legal questions, he will consult with me.
Okay, hi. Yes. Yeah, thank you for your kind comments. We had already done all this, and we have been doing this for last 1 month. I would say that we had prepared 3 projects, sent it to all of you, and also requested that we should be a part of the agenda. And what all issues we had already been discussing with all of you and with you also. So it is not something new which is suddenly coming up, so that we have to again now start from the scratch and again started, what we wrote is again start sending it to all of you. So it's already there. So we have a simple request, and if you say that there are other issues to be resolved, but of course there are always issues, right? But when it comes to the project, we want to present our project to you and to the respected, community members, of the city of Parlier, and for their benefit. And
And I
if
think
they
she's
like
already-
it, if you guys like it, we'll continue with that. And if you want to bring some changes, we're open for the changes.
Yeah, but
Because something has to be done with a 20 acres land.
And
So
it's-
we're trying to propose your project. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
do you
want
have
to do.
another property that you're looking into? Then maybe that would be the solution. Because I think she already
we,
addressed that.
We don't have anything.
Okay.
We don't have anything currently in the name of the non-profit.
Yeah.
We may have properties which are our personal properties, like Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Dhaliwal has his properties, because he is a resident of the city of Parlier.
Yeah.
He does have properties, but not
Mayor.
any other property.
So I think,
Excuse me, Mayor, I think what we have suggested is the best option, and if they choose to take that, then city manager is certainly available just to meet with the city manager. Otherwise, there's nothing more that can be suggested at this time.
right,
But so we have not been able to present our projects to the community at large.
and I think she already explained that to you too, and I explained it to you earlier as well. The property that you're interested in is not available.
No, but it's still in the title is still in our name. Of course, the only thing is that there has been delay by us. It's well
And I
accepted.
think she already explained to you about that, and so that property
What is that
is already.
explanation? Is there
She explained it to you earlier, and she also
yeah,
explained
just
it.
the only explanation is that, okay, we have taken it back, we'll take it back.
It is city property, so
And, pardon?
then it is city property, so I think at this point, what you need to do is exactly what the council suggested for you to do.
Ma'am, with all
And-
the respect, in legal terms, we have a deed, and deed to develop it for a community cause. And we are also again talking about doing something for the community's cause, right? It's not that you were saying that, okay, that land, we're going to use it for our personal benefit. It's again a community thing. We're saying, asking you and the
Thank you.
community, if they want to bring some changes, we are open for that. And
And
we
I-
have already started applying for the grants with the state and with the federal also.
Then you
we
just
are
need
going-
to do it, like she stated, via email, because at this point, we are not able to do anything, and she already explained it to you. I also explained it
So
to you earlier.
we'll again make a request, another request.
I need to move on. I need to open it up for the rest of the public.
Yeah,
That
sure.
might,
So if we will send all the information again, and if nothing happens, then we are back to square one. So again, next time we have to again come here, and if it is not included, what is the next course for us?
I think, council, maybe in an email you can address them or something?
You know, Madam Mayor, these gentlemen are well aware of what needs to happen. They have title to city property that they're retaining illegally. And they breached their contract to the city of Parlier. And they're apparently unwilling to resolve those issues. And certainly the city has done more than its fair share of acting in good faith.
Right.
And somehow they think they can bypass doing what is legally appropriate.
I understand.
And which has caused the city to spend time and resources on resolving this. So there's nothing further that can be said by you other than you contacting the city manager. And at this point in time, there's nothing more that can be said during public comment on this particular matter.
So with all the respect to you, we agree. We will send all the information to the respected
thank
city
you.
member, city manager.
Manager.
And if nothing happens, then again, we will be here back.
Yes.
In
Okay.
the next public hearing.
Okay.
Thank you much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Megan, I'm sorry, but I had a question. Did we get the check back that we paid for the actual land? Because
No,
so technically,
we'll discuss that at another,
okay,
during closed
yeah,
session.
I'm just
That's
worried
closed
about
session
that part.
information.
No,
because-
it's
Exactly what she explained earlier.
correct.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Dorothy, thank you.
My name is Humberto Gomez, 8607 South de la Cruz, Parlier, California. I noticed that we don't have an alternate for golf government. Your meeting, you don't get no alternate in case you cannot go. You were assigning Javier to go, but I will prefer to be one of the people that we elected in that meeting. That's the way it should be, for two reasons. One,
I attend those.
Javier is costing us.
No. The one,
Javier is costing us because he charged by the hour. And any golf meeting, I would like for you guys to have an alternate. And I don't know who's your alternate. We don't have any alternate.
the city engineer is supposed to attend those meetings. But thank you for your comment.
No, the city alternate, the city,
I attend the other, elected official attends the other meetings, which is me.
yes.
Okay. And then you have staff or a city engineer to attend the other meetings for the projects that we're working on, and that is Javier. But thank you for your
But
comment.
you were saying the chief, that the chief is not,
Thank you for your comment.
with enough understanding. I haven't finished.
Okay.
You were telling the chief that he was not able to represent you when he's our city manager.
I
But
don't
that's
know who
one.
told you that, but thank you for your comment.
That's what you did say, man.
Okay, thank you for
Okay,
your comment.
so-
Thank
so,
you.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening, Trinidad Pimentel, 305 Fifth Street. Right now, I'm a little confused with people. You keep using the word that we fired. We never fired anybody. Even in the letters that Mrs. Cassie Solorio did by sending to the, calling the chief, she never mentioned that we discussed anything about firing the chief in closed session. I got the letter right here in my pocket. But the thing that I'm trying to bring up right now is that the chief was never fired, okay? The contract was expired. We allowed him to work without a contract until we received a letter that he stated that he did not want to work without a contract and he did not want to work with a council that didn't support him. Chief, you're here. Have we ever not supported the police department? We've always been on top. We've always supported the police department. I've been all the way back to Chief Little, all the way down. I've always gotten along with all the chiefs and try to work with them. Our police department is the most important thing in this community. That's our safety net. Because when we need them, who's the first one we call? Okay? But I just want to clarify one thing, and the reason I came out here, I wasn't going to speak, is because I heard the word fired 3 or 4 times. Don't get me wrong. This appeal is going to be overturned. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we never fired anybody. We just did not extend, we did not, and not even extend, we did not negotiate another contract with them. That's it is. And you tell anybody that has a business and they have people with contracts and they decide not to extend that contract, what do? They just don't negotiate another contract and everybody moves on their way. So I just want to make it clear to the community here, and I know they're concerned, we're putting the blame game to everybody, but before we make any decisions, before we become judge, jury, and executioner, let's wait for the appeal. Let's wait because there was a lot of things there. I was there. I was called. There was other people that were called. There's a lot of things there that our attorney says are appealable. And let's wait for that. Let's not start pointing finger because that's what brings the community down. 99% Hispanic and only one person to make us go back into turmoil. So I'd like to ask the council, please, look at the situation. Let's wait for the appeal, and then we can make a decision as to what we want to do. Thank you.
Is there any other comments? Okay.
Can I
No,
say it on here? Because I was gonna say, but you were gonna send me to other things.
I don't know. Megan, how many times can he go up there? Because this is going to be,
Did
Yeah,
you see- did
you've
you see
already
this?
made your comments.
I did a comment on one item because he was gonna, in case I mentioned on the chief, he was gonna refer me that it is on the agenda.
Okay, excuse
the
me,
closed session.
excuse me. This is general public comment, not public comment on a particular agenda
Okay.
item.
I just wanna make
if
sure.
it's general public comment, which I think you've already done.
I will wait until the closed session.
all right,
Good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? I think there was someone else that wanted to speak.
Ismael Spidola, 500 seater. I want to know is how much do we get annually for the budget for the whole year for the city of Parlier? What's our bottom line dollar that we get?
You can actually, like she said earlier, is submit your questions to the city manager so he can give you an accurate information because I don't deal with the budget.
I mean, you said it before, but I just want to know how much it is right now.
So again, you can submit your request in writing to the city manager so he can give you the accurate information. Thank
Okay.
you.
All
And
right. That, and as a concerned citizen and as many other people here or whatever.
And anyone else can do
I think they all
that.
ask that you resign due
Okay.
to your negligence
Okay.
and all the mishaps and embezzlements that have happened. in
What
the
embezzlements?
acquisition.
Until-
It's all in black
Okay,
and white.
thank you. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. That's enough. Well, a tax is not acceptable. That's not proper. Just because you want her to attack me, Kathy.
Excuse me. As regarding the budget has not been finalized. So your acting city manager has been working on it, and he presented the budget, maybe when you were not here, and the final budget is coming back. So if you have a question on the budget, if you have a question on the budget, it is a public record, and you can inquire of the city manager.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council. Is there anybody else? Okay, hearing none, then we can move on to the next item. The next item will be consent calendar. Is there any item from the consent calendar that any council member would like to pull for discussion?
Yes,
Okay, which one?
number one.
Okay. Any other? Okay, so do we have a motion to approve 2 and 3?
Motion.
Diego, do we have a
Second.
second? Who second?
Jeannie.
Janie? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5 yes. And go ahead with the item number 1.
Okay, I had a question with, credit card.
Mm-hmm.
And, because it was brought to my attention, they were asking me, it was on page. Sorry. We didn't get it in our books, right?
Yeah, okay.
I believe it's page 4, It's page 204.
Okay.
And this is for you, Chief. On the statement here, there was a question about the county inn for, in San Diego for 961, and then there was another one for 907. And then there was one for Glendale for 2,600. So, and I could not answer those questions because of course I don't know what they were for, but I know you can.
I think they were trainings, weren't they?
Yes, actually, those are, and those are not generally the expense that we allocate for training, because we do try and adapt to austerity and be conservative with our budget, but there are some specialized training that is very exclusive and it is very hard to get into, and a lot of times those executive type trainings. So I went to a homicide investigation course many years ago that was held in Sacramento. I went to an executive leadership training course in San Diego many years ago. And those courses generally, because they're for higher level executives, and it's specialized training, so investigative training, and these are I-Corps courses, which are elite courses. So a lot of those courses are not available in town. And
Right.
so only certain officers, we don't send them all to that training, because this type of training is only for certain officers who are in leadership positions or who are detectives. So that's where we send our officers to training. So those charges are absolutely related to those types of training. But most of the training we do for our officers, we do here at the Fresno Police Department Regional Training Center, Fresno County Sheriff's Department, Tulare County Sheriff's Department, and other nonprofit or for-profit organizations that host those trainings here in town. But it's something that, and those are more lower level type basic training that we send them to. But the more experienced, specialized, like one of our sergeants, he's also our detective. He went to DRE training, and I believe that was in Glendale or San Diego. See, DRE is a drug recognition expert. So he can testify in court as an expert to the drug cases that we have, and every agency has a drug recognition expert, and that training course is extremely rigorous, but that type of training is very specialized. So
Thank you, Chief. I think
Thank you.
for everybody to know, it's training that is necessary. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Chief. I really appreciate that.
So
Because I know, and you continue with the trainings because I know how important they are
So-
for our,
do we have a
Police
motion to
officers.
approve that item?
oh, excuse me, I was not done yet.
I need to move on.
We're gonna-
Motion? Nobody's gonna motion to approve it? I motion to approve it. Second? Second. So Sabrina, all those in favor? Roll call, because I'm not getting, I did. Sabrina, second. Mm-hmm. Can you do a roll call, because I'm not getting a response? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Now we can move on to the next item. We have regular business.
I'd like to pull up 4, please. And I would like to move that to closed session for further discussion. Item number 4.
That's the guidelines that we were trying to get done for the development that's coming, the 300 homes. In order for people to apply for the first-time home buyer assistance program, they have to have the guidelines, and it's been delayed for several months. So they have to actually use the funds by the end of this year. And so that's why it's critical for us to move forward on that, and instead of just delaying it again for another meeting, because I don't think that that's something that requires to be in closed session, because it's not a legal matter.
Council member, I don't believe it meets the criteria for closed session.
Well, we have time for this, I think we believe, don't we have until 2027 on this?
Council member, it does not meet the legal requirements for closed session, as I understand it.
Thank you.
Just a moment. Council member, do you have any questions on that?
Diego wants to talk.
Yes?
I wanted to motion to table this to the next meeting because I have some questions that need to be answered. And
This is where you can ask those questions because it is, it is.
the person that did the report's not here.
Oh, well,
Well,
think
just a moment, please. So you understand, Councilmember Solorio, that it cannot go to closed session because it doesn't meet the legal requirements, and same for you, Councilmember Garza. Now, Councilmember Rodriguez, you wish to table this to the next meeting for what reason?
I had asked for the possible, the draft application, and I'm a little concerned about some of the amounts. And from what I was reading is, because it keeps getting brought up about the new development, but it's for any first-time home buyers, not just for that development, those in that development. I'm sure there's a list of those in that are inquiring for those homes as first-time home buyers. But I think a little more clarity needs to be given because I know there's homes available in the city of Parlier that people, are first-time home buyers and they're, I don't know if there's a list already. And I don't think there should be because it's a first come, first serve.
it has to meet the requirements as
Yes,
well.
of course. But from
Not
what
just
I've
anyone can
heard,
apply.
it's because of those homes that are pending sale and the
Okay.
new development.
So who prepared the grant?
That would be, Sonia? So the guidelines are the same guidelines has been used for several years, because this is the same grant that we've been receiving every year for first-time home buyers.
Okay.
So the guidelines are the exact same thing as they've been several years. And I think you sat down with staff to work on that, correct? Serta?
Yeah, so the award amount is changing. So before the maximum was 25,000, now it's anywhere from 10,000 to 75,000. That's the only change that we saw in the guidelines.
you're just-
the application process, we haven't launched that yet. So once this is approved,
Then you go on to that.
we will set a date and time with the window that the application process is open. So for example, in the next 60 days, submit your application. The application deadline will be on this date as kind of the
Right.
guidelines we're setting for the community.
and
And it
the-
is available not only to the new development, but anybody that wants to buy a
Yeah,
home.
but there's the qualifications that they have to follow. But I think you also mentioned the last time we had this discussion about this actual guidelines, that the reason why it increased was because the cost of the homes are a lot higher now. So even though last year it may have been 25,000, the housing is a lot more now, so they need a lot more to be able to qualify for the home, or else they won't qualify. Because it's focused on getting, it's affordable housing, so get the people that otherwise would not be able to afford a house, would be able to afford it with this down payment assistance program.
Megan, I also wanted to ask Chief that next time something like this comes on the agenda, that if the actual guidelines can be on here, like Ms. Rodriguez said, because once again, I'm not going to approve something that I don't know the guidelines to.
Of course.
So that's my recommendation to that. The guidelines, and maybe having someone oversee the actual grant, because we don't want stuff to be missing or anything like that. So we want to
we
make
hired
sure
somebody.
that we keep
No
it straight.
repeats.
I think we hired somebody to oversee that grant, correct? Isn't that why we have California
California Consulting.
Correct.
We can have them oversee it, but you're right. I apologize for not having those guidelines in there.
I think they were turned into you, right? Yeah.
For you.
Yeah. So was not done intentionally. So
Sure. I do think that you could make a motion to table it if you wish.
Yes.
But on the other hand, you could approve subject to receipt and approval of the guidelines next time as well. And I don't know, I always ask, what's the timetable on this?
it's been delayed for 6 months already, and one of the developers has people that are actually waiting for this funding. And even though there is houses that they can purchase outside in the community, if we don't do this, then no one still gets to get approved for any down payment assistance. So this is why I'm saying we need to approve the guidelines, and then when it comes back to us in the application, you can ask those questions, and this way, the acting city manager can get those questions from the employee answered and bring it back to council. But by delaying it again is not going to resolve the problem, and it's not going to help the situation to get people into a new home. So all we're doing is delaying again for another month, because it won't be until October, and then October will come around, and those people that are waiting for this to be able to get into their home are going to be delayed again. And to me, we've been doing this for several years. It's not changed, and it's no catch-22. So we need to just be supportive of getting people into a new house. And by approving the guidelines is not going to create a problem. It's only going to help get those guidelines that have been the same guidelines for several years. The only difference is the amount. And like I explained earlier, the amount went up simply because the housing has gone up.
I'd like to comment from a legal point of view, council members, that guidelines are just fairly typical and straightforward. While I appreciate your wanting more information, it only authorizes your acting city manager to sign off on anything. And considering that, and if you're all provided the guidelines, I would recommend approval of this subject to receipt and review of the guidelines, and bring it back next time if there's any questions. But because the guidelines are very common and straightforward and allow the projects to go forward, you might want to consider approval. If you do not, then you probably need to take a motion to push this to the next meeting. Yes.
I just want to say, it was brought up right now by the mayor that it's been on standby for 6 months. This is the first time it comes to us.
Well,
so we are not pushing it back as council, because at sometimes
never
the
said that.
interpretation
I never
becomes
said that.
that it's the council
I
and it's not
understand.
us. This is the first time it comes to
And-
us, and we're just
and-
asking for paperwork
There is
so
no
that we
paperwork.
know
It's
the
just
guidelines
it's
of
just a
how it's
sheet.
going to work.
It's
Once
just a
again,
sheet.
she tries to interrupt and tries to overtalk us, and I'm not going to allow that anymore.
No, and-
I am
Mayor,
here
Mayor,
to
excuse
represent
me. Let
District
him
4
speak, please.
for all the talking
So
that I
let's
need to
just
do.
move on. And
No,
I
we're
have
not
a
gonna move
question.
on. We're not done here yet.
Just a guideline.
Something,
Well, then-
Jesus
I
Christ.
have not been able to speak.
Mayor, every council member should be able to speak on
I
this
understand that, but
briefly.
it's just
Thank
like I
you.
said, like you said earlier, if it's going to be tabled, let's table it then. But I don't think we need to debate a guideline.
We're
Because
not
like you
debating,
said,
we're being-
it's only a guideline. It's not something that's going to harm us.
Well,
or
let me ask
cause any
your
problems.
acting city manager. Acting city manager, Serta, you signed off on this, and you said you should have provided your council with the guidelines. What is your recommendation? And I would suggest you go along with his recommendation, whatever that might be.
No.
What is your recommendation on this?
I understand both positions, so I would leave it up to the council. I understand they both made valid points. And
Okay.
I'll allow them to make the decision on it.
Then I would suggest that whatever motion you wish to make, unless there's further comment, that we move forward.
Yes, we do.
yes.
Sabrina already did.
Just a moment.
I
Go
do.
ahead.
And it's true. This grant has come to us over 6 months. When it started coming to the council, coming to the agenda, I should say, because it never got to us. When it started coming to the agenda, it was pulled several times by the mayor. So we had to wait. This is
That
the
was-
first time, like Councilmember Garza said, this is the first time it's coming to the agenda. And we all knew, as council members, we all knew how critical this was and the deadlines we had on this grant to help our residents buy their new homes. Buy their new homes.
If I could, excuse me one moment, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but City Manager Serta, what's the timeline on this?
December, isn't it?
on this grant?
Yeah, it's a fairly new grant.
Okay, so would it be a burden on the city or a detriment if they tabled this to the next meeting and voted on it at that time?
It wouldn't jeopardize the grant. If that's
Okay, that's what I want to
It
know.
would only jeopardize the people that are actually trying to buy a
And
house.
That's why I
And this is,
mentioned-
again, this is why I'm saying that I didn't pull that item because it never made it to the darn agenda.
I understand. Is there a
No,
motion?
It did make it to the
So
agenda, but
let's
since
just
the
go
mayor had-
ahead and move
since-
on because I'm
excuse me,
tired of
I
going
have
in a
not
di-
finished. I have not finished.
Megan?
Excuse me.
So are you gonna make a
Excuse me.
motion to
Megan?
table it so we can
Excuse
move
me,
on?
I'm not done, please. Thank you.
We're not gonna debate this
Thank you.
anymore.
I'm
Well,
not
Councilmember
debating it.
Molina,
Not
please
debating it.
finish your comment.
Thank you.
And you need to
briefly.
stop
Thank you.
already.
It did come, and it did go on the agenda.
You just said
Prior-
that.
I know,
prior-
she's
You just
repeating
said
herself.
that.
Prior to it being posted.
She
it was
just said
pulled.
that again.
I understand. Thank you
You
very
already
much.
said
Is
it.
there a motion here?
Yes,
there's a-
it was done by Sabrina already. We
All
got
right,
it to
so is there a
2027.
second? Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second? Thank you.
Okay.
Roll call vote, please. So, well, it's a,
Second.
can you please stop, Kathy? So roll call vote, please. I'm sorry, Dorothy, but she won't stop. No.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. And this is important for the community to know that, I know most of them are waiting for their down payment assistance program, but they're obviously not considering that. So thank you. Let's move on
excuse
to the
me.
next
And
item. No,
once again,
next
it's not
item.
us.
Item
We
nine.
wanna make sure-
You should
item
have made
number
that comment.
5.
She's
Serta,
the one
can
that
you
made
please
the
go
Ms.
on?
You made the
Or is that
comment.
Javier?
Ms.
Is
Mayor,
Javier here too, or are you gonna
She's
present?
hurting the council, make look
Go
bad.
ahead. Go ahead
Madam
and
Mayor, excuse me.
Can he go on with
City
the next-
Manager, would you please make sure you bring back the guidelines, attach them to the resolution as part of the resolution, and also any other documents that are referenced, so your council has a full understanding of what this is. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So they can understand. Okay, go ahead, Serta.
Okay, Mayor, council members, members of the community, before you, there is a staff report, whereas the staff recommends the city council adopt resolution number 2024- awarding a contract for supply and installation of Virgin GAC media for the 1, 2, 3 TCP removal treatment systems to Carbon Supply Incorporated in the amount of $659,260 and designating and authorizing the city manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the city. The City of Parlier's TCP removal treatment at wells 2A, 4A, 5, 8, and 9A. Project includes the construction of TCP removal systems for wells number 2A, 4A, 8, and 9. These removal systems consist of granular activated carbon fibers, backwash tanks, chemical buildings, and minor site improvements. Well number 5 will be rehabilitated from a standby source into an active source. The contractor working on the installation of the TCP treatment system is expecting to be ready to the GAC installation sometime in January 2025. This contract included the supply and installation of 480,000 pounds of GAC media. The GAC media removes the TCP from the water and needs to be periodically exchanged. A total of 2 bids were received, opened, and read aloud at 2 p.m. on September 10th, 2024. The lowest responsive bid was submitted by Carbon Supply Incorporated in the amount of $659,260. The bid results are listed as follows: Carbon Supply, $659,260, and Carbon Activated Corporation, $905,608. If the contract is awarded to Carbon Supply, at the meeting, the anticipated supply and installation of GAC media is January 2025. The fiscal impact cost for GAC supply and installation is a $659,260. The city has requested an amendment to the state to increase the DWSRF construction grant funding to include these costs. If approved, this contract will be funded by the DWSRF construction grant. And the attachment is-
Ms. Mayor, there's 2 corrections I'd like to note for the record, please. The first one is, if this is approved, it'll be designated as resolution number 2024-5 58.
Okay, so we're just gonna leave it back to-
2024-58.
Okay.
And the recommendation says authorizing city manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the city. The resolution says city manager or mayor. I would just ask that or mayor be stricken based on the recommendation and just keep the city manager as the authorized person to sign on this, if that's agreeable.
Yeah, I agree.
Just better business, and that's
He's
consistent
here,
with the recommendation.
And they don't have to try to track me down.
Exactly. Thank you for those
So-
two corrections. Please note for the record.
Okay. Thank you, council. So any questions from the public?
Blanca Alemán, 13649 Street.
Can you make sure that mic's on, please?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Question on this grant money for the first-time buyers. How
Oh.
does it work? Is this about that?
No, it got
Sorry.
tabled.
Oh,
So
okay.
you can make the comment at the next meeting. It'll be coming back.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yes.
So anybody want to address this for the? Yeah, they tabled it. It got tabled. It's gonna come back next month.
You know, you could talk to the city manager or send a written inquiry or whatever, because the city manager signed off on this, but it will come back at the next city council meeting.
The reason is because I think if I wait till the next time he comes, he will, the question was is that the grant, he said there's people waiting.
Right.
So they're gonna get first choice and part of residents aren't gonna get.
That was my question. My daughter.
That's the reason we're bringing it back.
No, guidelines don't have anything to do with the choice of.
Waiting for more than 6 months, and by the time they called it, they told her there was no money, there were no grants.
Well, it hasn't been, just so that we can clear that, the money has not even been used. The guidelines is the first step. And the guidelines does not determine who's eligible, who is not. It just goes over the amounts. That's it. There's people that are I understand that, and that's why I was trying to get it to move forward, but, it's gonna come back and,
This is out of line, and it is not within this agenda
What
item.
you can do is maybe, Serta, can you kind of have a meeting with them to kind of clear that? Because it doesn't determine who's eligible. Guidelines are just the amounts. So that way you can kind of get it a little bit more clearer information out there for them to understand that, it's not going to determine that. So he can actually, if you want to meet with him, you can go by to the office and set an appointment with him and discuss that.
Chief, didn't you say that we're gonna start a new list?
You're
So,
gonna, you
so
can call
we're
me
not,
and we'll schedule
yeah,
an
go
appointment,
ahead
I'll-
and meet with them because we're not on that subject anymore. So, it got tabled. And following the Brown Act, you have to be on whatever is on the agenda, and that's not on there no more. So thank you. So we're on number 5. So if there's any comments about the TCP, project, removal treatment system. So if there's anybody that wants to address that, you may do so now. And hearing none, so do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Diego, second by Sabrina. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5 yes. Okay, we can now move on to brief council comments. Let's start with Serta.
Yes, I just want to thank the community, everybody that came out for the National Night Out on Saturday. It was a really pleasant time, had a good time. All the kids had a blast. We gave away raffles. And our next community event, the city community event, in collaboration with the police department, all our partners, the Parlier Unified School District, the Lions Club, Breaking the Chains will be our Red Ribbon event, and then our Halloween event. So those are big celebrated events. We invite all of you to come out. It's a really good time. It's a safe time. And it's basically a free event. Some of the food booths charge, but generally what we give away are free gifts and waters and refreshments and food as well. So thank you.
I'm gonna go to the city attorney first, so that way I missed you the last time, so I want to give you the opportunity to say something, because I know I skipped you the last time, because normally the last council would not have any
Well,
calls.
I thank you for that. And those of you in the audience that I haven't met, please feel free to come in and say hello and introduce yourselves. Part of the pleasure of being here is meeting the community. So I really appreciate all of you. We don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree. But we're all here to support the city. And I appreciate all of you, as well as my clients, the council, and the city that I represent. So I know it's kind of refreshing, huh? I mean, you do something because you want to do it and not just because somebody tells you to do it or whatever. But please say hello, introduce yourself, and tell me where you come from and where you're at. And if any of you some of you are rather young, I think way younger than me. There was a program that was put out and suggested by Councilmember Garza and Rodriguez about the high school representative. If any of you know of any kids or the leadership program in the high school or are connected, I think that's in the works as far as possibly having a high school student and be a high school representative with the city council meetings. So I think the more community that shares the experience, especially our young people, I think it really benefits your community and them in the long run. So thank you so much for making me feel welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. Janie?
Yes, good evening, everybody. I would like to use my council comments today to address what I believe was a legitimate question being asked by residents. One such question is, what are council members doing to protect the public citizens from this kind of liability? Since becoming a city council member, my goal has been to get answers about things that do not add up or question things that do not feel right for the city of Parlier. In this time, my efforts have been met with much resistance for reasons that make me believe we're giving in orders to keep bad decisions covered. Losing the lawsuit has highlighted these questions I have been asking and give me assurance about my efforts to bring transparency and truthfulness back to our city. With that being said, I hope the citizens of Parlier will continue to come to these meetings and ask every questions they may have. Thank you.
Sabrina?
I just want to thank Chief and the PD for putting on a well-attended National Night Out. I wasn't able to make it. My son had an event with FFA. I look forward to the upcoming events in the community. Ask the community to continue to stay involved. We will get past what we're going through, and we just need to move forward. Again, thank you, Megan, for taking on this task willingly, and answering some questions that weren't answered before, and that's just general. Thank you to the community for coming today. Again, like Janie says, voice your concerns, ask your questions. You can reach out to any of us. We all have an email and a city phone that you can call. A lot of you do know where most of us live. You're more than welcome to come by and knock on my door and ask questions. Again, there's only so much we can tell you because a lot of it is private. Because it's closed session items. But again, we're more than willing to talk to you, and I just ask you guys to please be more involved with our community and get involved with some of Chief's upcoming committees and stuff like that, so that we have more of an input from our community. And I'm community from District 1 to District 4. Again, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you guys at our next upcoming community events. Thank you.
Yeah, like Sabrina said, Chief, thank you for putting on an event. Unfortunately, I didn't get to make it. I had something else planned, but from what everybody said, it was a good event. So thank you again. I just want to thank all staff for working hard, getting through this. Like I said, we're fighting the good fight. I keep telling everyone, but we're going to keep striving forward. Jeff, thank you for everything you're doing. Dorothy, thank you for always being here and doing the minutes. It's been a long time, so I appreciate you. And then also for the first-time home buyers, we do want you guys to get the money. I am a person who has receive first-time home buyers, and I know how much it helped me. So I do know that you guys want it, but like I said, I will not approve nothing if I don't have paperwork in front of me. And that's what I do every week that our agendas come out. So again, I'm sorry that you have to wait, but it's something for me I cannot vote on. And I want to make sure that I get the guidelines and that we make sure that the grants are ran correctly, because then sometimes we don't get paid back that money like it has in the previous years. So again, I just want to say thank you to Megan, and thank you to the community for coming out today.
I also want to thank Chief. That was a good turnout that we had. It was great giving the kids their gifts, doing everything for them. The excitement on their face was unbelievable, Megan. I mean, they ran. Chief, how were they? It was exciting. We laughed a bunch, right? It was great. And about the reason I wanted to pull out forward, like Diego says, I didn't have no information on it. And I'm surprised that the price went up from 25 to 75. So that's why it's important for us to know what's going on. No backdoor deals. Someone else knows, but we don't know. And we can't put something in, they can't put something in front of our face and say vote, because we don't know what we're voting for, like right now. That's why we requested this. This is very important for the community to know exactly what it is. And that's how I feel, exactly. And thank you, Mr. Pimentel, for clarifying that again about closed session. What you mentioned there never was said. And it's sad, Megan, because it was posted again today by a resident. I'll be sending you the copy that I said something in closed session. It doesn't stop. But anyway, thank you. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Dorothy? Do you have the mic on? I'm sorry.
Sorry. Just want to thank council for doing their job, each and every one of you. Megan, thank you for being here. I do appreciate you very much. Michelle, thank you for all the hard work that you do. People don't say it as much as they should, but you do a lot more than normal, and I just want to appreciate and thank you for all the hard work that you do with your contacts that we didn't have before, and the help that you have brought to our foundation. So, and thank you, Jeff, for also the hard work that you do. I know sometimes it's stressful, but thank you. So, thank you, everyone, for your time.
Michelle?
This is for the chief. Concerned residents are seeking clarification on potential citations for.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you pull the mic? There you go. Thank you.
This is for the chief. Concerned residents are seeking clarification on potential citations for feeding stray cats within their own front yard. If you could clarify it.
So I guess not employees, but residents are saying that they're getting a
Residents are calling me,
citation for feeding cats in the front yard. I don't know if that's something that maybe you can address with the officers later.
I haven't heard of that, but I'll look into it.
Thank you. He'll look into it.
Okay.
Thank you. Nobody lets anything out, so that's again misleading information. Thank you. Jeff, do you have anything?
I don't have anything to add. Thank you for the
Okay.
kind words. That's it.
Thank you. So, again, I'm going to go back to clarifying the item on the agenda. We received the information on that subject matter that was supposed to be approved today on Monday. So if there was these concerns and these questions that they wanted to make sure that they had the guidelines before them, so before they make this denial or tabled or and consider any information that needs to be helpful for them to decide whether they're going to approve an item or not. I don't understand why not one of you reached out to our acting city manager and requested that information so that they could have clarification.
Mayor,
So
you're
I'm sorry,
off
Megan.
agenda.
Let me just say
You
this.
could have
You-
said that when the agenda item was up, and this is your
Did
opportunity.
not say anything when Kathy
This is
just
your
wet-
opportunity.
blamed me for it. Okay,
Mayor,
you did
it's
not
time to take a
interrupt
break
there.
then.
So
If-
this is it. I'm the last one. Sorry, Megan.
Then do not discuss the matter that was tabled till the next meeting.
It's my council comments, and I'm saying if they had wanted clarification, they could have requested the information. That is my time to justify and clear my name.
No,
Yes, thank
Mayor,
you.
it is your time to make a comment on anything other than it's on the
I can-
agenda.
Can you please stop, Megan?
If we don't get back to within the Brown Act, then we
That
have to
is,
have
and
a,
it's right here.
we
council
have to
comments,
have a break.
Me to be able to clarify.
Not on an agenda item.
It's not going to be approved, Megan. It is my right to speak that and mention that. And now if they fail to request that information, that is on them.
Mayor, if
So,
either you finish
I wanted
or I'm gonna call
ask
a break.
question on, well,
No.
that's what she's not allowed.
This topic, just in general. Yeah, I showed up late because I was sponsoring the dinner.
Okay.
Can we finish this, Mayor, please?
It's gonna create more of a fiasco. So, yes, no, and I appreciate that, you're here and you wanted to be here, so thank you for your time. I understand that you,
Excuse me, miss, but you do not have a right to speak right at the moment. Okay?
This is why the city council meetings are the way they are.
Well,
Because only you guys can speak.
no, there was public comment and you did not offer public comment, but there's a closed session. There's closed session that you can make a public comment during closed session on those matters.
about that, but yeah, it was earlier, the public comments, and I appreciate your time being here. And maybe, once it goes back onto the agenda for the next time, then if you want to mention on that, talk about that subject, then you can go ahead and,
I think it was just a comment in general, not on the specific subject.
okay,
So.
Madam Mayor?
okay.
Madam Mayor, please get back to the agenda.
You're here for legal advice and you're trying to run my meeting. So this is what I'm just gonna say, okay? So I have the right to speak to staff, and I had a concern on one of the projects that you were working on, Jeff. Were you able to, can you stop shouting from your seat?
Sir, the mayor has the floor during her time for her comment. Please
Thank you.
allow her to speak.
Thank you. So, were you able to resolve some of those concerns? I just,
From
I just-
yesterday
From
or the
what?
day before?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all taken care of.
And there's that other one, I know that they were supposed to be here today. They wanted to ask you about the apartment complex that's going on Parlier Street.
Great. Yeah, that's addressed too.
Okay, great. That's all my questions
Yeah,
that I had.
Those
so-
two things are about,
Okay.
those
all
are
right.
squared away.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
Council, now you can go ahead and go to public comments for the closed session items. It's the last page.
Yes, under closed session, there's 3 closed session items. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the council on an item which is to be considered during closed session. The speakers shall limit their comments to 3 minutes. The closed session items are as follows. Number 6, public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code Section 54-957 and related to the Chief of Police. Number 7, conference with legal counsel related to existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54-956.9, Garza versus City of Parlier, Superior Court Case Number 21 CECG 02953. And item number 8, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54-956.9, one case.
Okay. All right, is there any public comments? Go ahead.
Well, first time that I'm seeing, and thank you, Mayor, because this is the first time And thank you, Megan, because this is the first time that I actually see, with the exception on interruptions, this is the first time that I actually see that we follow in the agenda.
Okay, you need to stick
And-
to the items that are on the
Yes,
agenda.
I'm just making that comment, Mayor.
Okay, that's not public comment.
On number 7, I'm going to be asking the council not to go into the issue of getting, like the mayor is already saying, in all the channels, that she wants to appeal this. It's going to cost us more money. First of all, we haven't seen the contract that you guys put together to continue with the same attorney. Okay? I don't know why you guys agreed to it. And I know that this is going to cost a lot of money. And besides, I know that we're going to lose the case. Because remember that it was not a settlement among 2 people. We went to a jury trial, and we lost. We were not able to convince the jury. So we ended up losing. I think we saved some money because I overheard that he was asking for $4 million. So let's settle for the $1 million, because we're going to spend more than $1 million trying to relitigate this issue. So that's my comment.
Thank you for your comment. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Trinidad Pimentel, again, on the appeal, please, guys, look at it very carefully. We need to get that appeal going as soon as possible so that we can turn this around. There was a lot of mishaps, and we need to turn this around. There's a lot of lying that was going in there. There's a lot of misinformation that went in there, and we were not allowed to go through what we wanted to say. So please, this appeal is going to be important. It's not only going to cost us $1.1 million. They still haven't figured in the attorney fees. So it's going to come out to close to $2 million before we finish it. And if we listen to people that say, leave it alone, no. We got to fight for our community. If we don't fight for our community, we don't belong here.
Yep.
This is our community. We need to let people know that we care. We shouldn't even be talking against our community outside of this community. We have our differences here, and I understand that. But we need to start coming together and start trying to solve our problems in-house. You don't hear other communities doing what we're doing, unless it's a big thing that's going on. But please, guys, look at that appeal and go forward with it. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Juan Montaño, 500 Progreso Drive. I'm also going to speak about this lawsuit. I mean, the city's been in this situation before, not with the lawsuits, but in a deficit. When I was consul, there was a $3 million deficit that we started erasing, but it took us a while. It's unfortunate this happened, and I agree. If there's an appeal, but appeals are very, very seldom awarded, and I think the city attorney knows that. I would like to move forward from this, but it is difficult because I know somebody asked, how are we going to pay for this? It's our resources. It's our PD that cost us, my thinking, $3 million a year. Out of a $5 million budget, which leaves $2 million. And we're not at the end of this. I mean, I was here when Element 7. I mean, I'm thinking they're coming back. You guys made a judgment call on that one. You guys voted on that. And they were giving a go-ahead. And my understanding, they spend millions too. Now, I haven't seen any of that. And if they come back, well. And they talked about not having insurance, and I've also questioned that, but I'm not there where you guys are at. And I know it's a difficult position to be in. I've been there. And I'm asking you, if it doesn't happen with the appeal, you do have to have a plan B. And being city manager, you're going to have to come up with innovative ways of how we're gonna meet this. Will it be with staff being cut? Because we did cut staff. When we were here, we cut staff, 2 hours? Some left. I hated to miss them. I hated them leaving. They were good. Of course, council gets blamed. And whether you want to get blamed or not, all of you are part of this council. All of you take the blame. Not, you can't point the finger. You can, but you've been here. Two of you have been here since 2020. So you were part of this. You sat there. I didn't say you did it. And it's right. I think some of the stuff I heard tonight, maybe I shouldn't bring it up, but you do have the right to call the city manager and ask for paperwork as a city council. And if you receive it before, then you got a right to call. How come I haven't received the paperwork on it? To come here and ask for it? And I don't know if this, on the housing thing, if they're gonna they have to pay it back or not, but that's something to look at. That's between you guys and stuff, but yes, this is gonna it's gonna definitely hit to us.
Yeah.
So I just wanna say that. I'm not here to protect anybody I'm not with any of you.
Right.
I'm by myself.
Right.
And I'm not influenced by anybody. I'm just what I've heard tonight. So I thank you for your time and
Thank you.
good luck.
Thank you. Okay. That's it. So we're gonna go into closed session.
Are there any other public
Is it
comments?
for the closed session matter or not? Okay, so we're gonna go into closed session. Who? Oh,
Hi, my name is Bernardo Trujillo, 7896 South 8th Street. Just two questions. Is sound?
it has to be green. Is it green?
Yeah, okay, it's sound already. Okay, my name is Bernardo Trujillo, 7896 South 8th Street. It's just questions. Okay, who's gonna pay that 1.1 million? The second one, if you guys lose the appeal, who's gonna pay it anyway? I'm gonna make three comments. Stop with the harassing. All together have to be respectful and work together because that's what happened now. No bullying and have respect for the others.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Oh. Okay, we're gonna go into closed session now? I think that's it, right?
I'd like to take a short break, please.
So, Megan, can you go over the vote? Go to the motions and then on the vote.
Well, in the closed session items, number 6, there's nothing to report. Okay. Number 7, there was a unanimous vote authorizing the city manager, acting city manager, to move forward with post-trial motions and an appeal and bring back any agreements that needed to be reviewed and signed off by the council.
The council or the city manager? I think it was the city manager.
City manager, thank you. And that each one of the council members voted in support of that motion, and that's being reported out now. And on number 8, conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation, there's nothing to report.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Because Kathy was, again, interrupting. I didn't hear.
Number 7 or 8?
Yeah, the one that you were just, I think it was.
8?
The last one.
The last one,
Yes.
conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code Section 54956.91 case, there is nothing to report.
Okay.
What did you say on number 7?
Would
It
you
was
like
a
me to
vote.
write it down, or you want me
By
to
vote.
say it again?
Say it again.
That it was a unanimous vote to authorize the city manager to move forward with post-trial motions and an appeal on this matter and bring any agreements back, enter any agreements that were necessary related to this matter.
To the city manager.
Correct, city manager.
Yes, yes, you could, and it's for, to bring back any documents that need to be signed for the city manager to sign.
Whatever I couldn't get, I usually.
Review it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.